everyone, welcome to my September TBR. I've kept this list quite short compared to last month. I'm also taking part in a couple of challenges which I'm going to do another TBR video for. So this is just a very simple and short, comparatively, list of books that I would really like to get to outside of those challenges. First of all, there are 3 advanced readers copies that I would definitely love to get to. First one is A Muse of Fire. This one is by Heidi Heilig, who wrote The Girl from Everywhere. That is a duology that I absolutely loved, and I really hope that she continues with that series. But this one is another YA fantasy. This is about a girl who can see souls and kind of bind them to a puppet. The main character is bipolar and there is a mad king, so I think this sounds really good. The author herself also has bipolar disorder, so this is own voices as well. Next one is a sci-fi thriller, and that is This Splintered Silence. This one has been compared to The 100, which is originally what sold me on it, but also it sounds really good. It's set on a spaceship and the first generation on the ship was killed by a virus, and then the second generation a few years later starts having the same symptoms, so they're not sure if the virus is coming back. This one comes out in either October or November. I think this one sounds really good. I'm really excited for it. I'm expecting it to be really fast paced, so I might actually read it soon. And the final advanced readers copy that I'm absolutely definitely going to read, this isn't including the ones that I might read, is Cut Both Ways, which is a YA contemporary that came out a couple of years ago. Arc August basically inspired me to kind of get rid of my backlog because I've previously kind of been neglecting them in favour of books that are coming out this year because that made the most sense to me, but I would like to cut down on some of the books that I received previously and haven't actually read or reviewed. So this one is a contemporary about a bisexual main character who's a guy. I've never actually read a book with a bisexual male main character, so this should be interesting. I think he might be a bit of a cheater, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like it all that much because the bi representation might be a bit iffy, but we'll see. Also, there are 3 new releases that I'm really looking forward to. The first one being Vengeful, which I think everyone and their mother is dying to read. This is the sequel to Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I've been waiting years for this. I read Vicious when it first came out. The next one is Two Dark Reigns, which is the 3rd book in the Three Dark Crowns series. I marathoned the first 2 books in this series towards the beginning of the year. I did a read and vlog on them. I actually really enjoyed them. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but I did quite get into the series. The 3rd new release that I really want to read is Rosewater, which was released a couple of years ago in the US, I think, but it's coming out in the UK this year. And this has won a couple of awards. It's a science fiction novel about an alien biodome, and it's set in Nigeria, and I just think it sounds really good, so I'm going to give that one a go. The next ones of books are on my physical TBR or on my e-reader. There's only 5 of these, so I'm keeping it quite short this month, and some of them are ones that have been kind of featured before, but I just haven't gotten around to reading because I'm really bad at sticking to my TBR. The first one is Nevernight by J. Christoph. My friend Justine read this recently and it reminded me that I have been meaning to read this since January of this year. I think it's been in almost every single TBR since the beginning of the year. This is an adult fantasy series by J. Christoph, who gained popularity from, The Illuminae Files. I did not just forget that name. I did try to read the first chapter of this and I just couldn't get into it. First of all, I tried on my e-reader and then I tried again in the bookshop, but I bought the book because I'm determined to get through this trilogy. And I also saw that Kat from Little Book Out is hosting a read-along for the first 2 books in this trilogy in September and October, so I'm hoping to read this one this month with those guys. The next one is one that I mentioned in my last video, and that is I'll Be Gone in the Dark. This is about the Golden State Killer who was recently captured. I think everyone has heard of this book by now, but if you haven't, it's non-fiction, true crime, written by someone who recently passed away, but she basically dedicated her entire life to finding this guy. And eventually he was found, and I think she obviously had a lot to do with it, but she passed away before he was actually caught. Next, there is Likelife by J. Christoph. You can see a bit of a theme here. I am not entirely sold on this book because I'm not sure I'm going to love it, but I did get it really cheap at Yauk, so I'm going to give it a go, and I want to do it now while it's kind of fresh in my mind, and so that I don't put it aside for 3 years and forget about it. Then there's Every Heart a Doorway, which is a small novella. I definitely want to read this month. I was meant to read it last month, but I got really caught up in Arc August, so I didn't. And as it's only a short book, I might read the first 3 books in this series in preparation for the 4th one being released in January. And the final book on my TBR that I really want to read this month is The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I have been meaning to read these books for ages. I think I started The Colour of Magic a couple of years ago but didn't get into it. I've been told that I shouldn't really start with this one, but I'm determined to read them in publication order just because I'm weird, and I've told myself I'll give it 5 books to see if I get into his writing style and get involved with the characters and stuff. I recently went to the Terry Pratchett exhibition in Maidstone in Kent with my boyfriend because he's a massive fan, and I really like the artwork, and my boyfriend was telling me about all these different characters in the Discworld universe, and I kind of got into it and got into the mood, so I thought I would not in that way, I thought I would start the series this month, and I promised that I would give it 5 books, so here we go. So that's my TBR for September. I'm hoping to read a few more physical books this month because I didn't read any last month, but we'll see how that goes, because most of my advanced readers copies are on my Kindle, and then there's a lot of new releases that I'll probably get on Kindle and then buy later if I love them. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in a couple of days with another video, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye!